Welcome to the voice chat. I have been dwelling here for 100 years.
Perfect introduction. Thank you so much for dwelling in the voice chat for 100 years. That's just what I wanted you to do. You have played right into my hand.
You have awoken me.
What's up, everybody?
Hello.
I'm doing great. How's everybody else?
Very good, very good. Dr. Feargood, how are you?
Doing pretty good.
Good, man. Hope you guys are excited to play some D&D today. We'll jump right in where we left off. Pickle Deer, are you here as well?
Yep, I'm here.
Cool, welcome. So, Pickle Deer, Deacon, would you like to do the honors of telling everyone your awesome new owl name?
Sure. His name is going to be Iatos.
Which you told me earlier, it is Greek for eagle, is that right?
Yep.
And that's kind of in reference to the Prometheus story where he was tortured by the great bird that would come every day and rip out his organs.
Yeah, I figured that making a reference to someone who is tortured day over day for bringing fire to humans fits Deacon's backstory pretty well.
Very fitting.
Torturing himself for burning his church and the child within.
Very fitting for the backstory. I really like that reference, and I think that was pretty clever of you to think that up. I'm excited about that. So, yeah, let's jump into it. How is everybody's weeks going? We will get started here in just 1 second. Does anyone want to go over what happened last time? I already know who's gonna do it. Nope. Chad is silent.
Oh, well, I mean, if nobody else wants to jump in.
I know, man.
Let's see. So I don't even know, man. Like we crawled out of like the crack,
Mm-hmm.
and then we fought tree people.
Yeah, pretty much.
And yeah, no, it was a spider, and then the spider got killed by a tree person,
Mm-hmm.
and then by proxy, and then we killed the tree man, and then I don't even know what happened. I don't know. What do we do after that?
That is pretty much it. But the most important part is you guys got to level 7, right?
Oh yeah, I remember that. I got the ability to get advantage on initiative.
Heck yeah.
That's all I remembered, and
Super
that's
exciting.
the important part.
Which the funniest thing ever, like that happened last week, and I remember being super impressed and excited with that ability. And then the following day, we did the podcast, and the new subclasses came out, and one of the new subclasses, like starting at level 3, gets an advantage on initiative, which I was really laughing a lot about that.
Yeah, which is like absolutely insane.
All right, so let me check really quick. Did everybody's update to level 3? Are you guys all done with that? Deacon, did you get all your stuff updated on here?
Oh yeah,
so I was just checking. Yeah.
Cool.
I got a Dimension Door, Wall of Fire, and I took the Maddening Hex invocation.
Cool. What does that do?
Whenever I do Hex, it can do some bonus damage to that creature and anyone within 5 feet of it.
Very nice. Cool. Dimension Door. Let me check that out really quickly.
What the heck is that?
It's kind of like super improved Misty Step, right?
Yeah, basically.
I can read it for anybody that doesn't know. You teleport yourself from your current location to any other spot within range. The range is 500 feet. You arrive at exactly the spot desired. It can be a place you can see, one you can visualize, or one you can describe, such as 200 feet straight down or upward to the northwest at a 45-degree angle. So you can like just describe the way that you want to be teleported, and it will happen. You can bring along objects as long as their weight doesn't exceed what you can carry, and you can also bring one willing creature of your size or smaller, so one other person, and they must be within 5 feet of you, and then you arrive 5 feet like apart together at the space. And then if you would arrive in a place already occupied, then you take damage and it doesn't teleport you, kind of just like anything in D&D. Like if you would dematerialize and then reappear in a space where there's already an object, it just kind of like bugs the game out and you take a bunch of damage. But other than that, being able to just teleport at will anywhere within 500 feet is kind of insane. And I'm excited to see what ways you break my campaign with it. So I'm excited.
Yay.
That's kind of just like D&D in a nutshell. Once you get past level 5 or 6, it's like, oh great, what new magic item and ability is just going to totally foil the DM's plans? And that's kind of the fun of playing.
Yeah, I'm starting to learn more and more. It's just like, how can you build your characters to be set up for something that like, penetrates something the DM has like not anticipated for whatsoever? It's like, oh, I like everything except for like, I didn't expect you to like randomly turn into like a druid and have the ability to turn to animals and just like take over the entire squirrel kingdom. Like,
right?
Damn it.
Yeah, there's entire like websites and communities based on just like power building characters to be the most overpowered things ever. Like there's like sorcerer / warlock multi-class build that of essentially you don't ever have to like rest, and you can never run out of spell slots, and you're just like insanely overpowered, and you can just nonstop cast fireball over and over again, and it's insane. But I'm sure like most DMs would just not allow that.
Yeah, that literally just sounds like the equivalent of someone just saying, yeah, and then my character gets like 500 more attacks, and then he gets to go again, and then after you get to go, he's invincible.
Yeah.
And then once it's my turn again, it's like, what was that?
Pretty
no
much.
DM's gonna let that.
Yeah, it's like even if it is technically something that the rules allow, it's like you're just being so nitpicky and precise about stuff that it's like not even fun at that point. So I'm glad that you guys are all like, you're doing great at role playing like actual interesting characters, and you're still making them fun to play and not being totally ridiculous. So good job, everybody. So let's get started. You guys left off, you killed the like corrupted ent that attacked after the giant spider tried to confuse and attack you all in the forest. And as this ent died, I guess it's not an ent, it's a tree ant. I don't know why I'm calling it an ent. I'm just thinking about Lord of the Rings. It fell over and kind of like melted back into the earth, like it had been so corrupted by whatever is tainting this forest and this land that it was barely held together, other than like the magic that is inside a tree ant's life force. If any of you don't know, to become a tree ant, it has to be like this great ancient old tree that's protected by a druid or some other like forest guardian for hundreds of years, and then eventually this like magic ancient old tree will like bloom and kind of emerge as a tree ant, and then that tree ant kind of helps the druid take over the duties of like protecting that grove or forest or whatever. So for a tree ant to become corrupted and evil and attack like that, and then its body to just like melt away, some great evil force must have been corrupting it. And one of you like picked up the kind of like magical twig branch that it left behind. I'm not sure, I don't remember which one of you that was.
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, so you pick that up after it kind of just dissipated into the earth, and all that's left is this like pretty sturdy, maybe 3 or 4 foot long branch that is just like glowing this golden glow, and it seems to be like it kind of looks like a walking stick, like you could, pretty sturdy, solid chunk of wood that is, it just looks like a solid branch, but it's glowing intensely. And roll an Arcana check, Deacon. 20 to start off the day. Very nice. So you pick this branch up, and you, a pretty smart and magically inclined gentleman, you pick this thing up carefully, as you just saw the giant corrupted magical creature that it came out of. And as you pick it up, you kind of start to like weigh it in your hand, and you're checking like the balance of it and looking at it and kind of inspecting this magical glow. And as you kind of like turn back towards the party to show them like what you've got from this thing, you realize as you turn, when you point the stick like towards the place that you were going, towards Chance to the west. Oh, somebody's phone's ringing. As you point the stick to the west, the glow like intensifies and gets really strong, and then when you turn back towards your party in a way, it kind of dulls and almost shuts off, and like you kind of wave it back and forth a few times, and every time you point this stick towards that area, it glows, and the light emanating from the stick gets a little bit brighter when you point it that way.
Whoa, cool toy. Where'd you get that?
From inside the tree, huh?
You mean the tree that attacked us?
Yes.
Pretty glow stick.
I want one. Why does he get one?
You're welcome to dig around in the sludge of what's left in there.
Chad like goes and grabs the first stick he finds.
Roll an investigation check, Chad.
Oh, he has like nothing.
Nice. Chad finds a pretty good looking stick.
Why isn't mine glowing?
I cast light on his stick.
It's glowing so hard.
Yay!
All right, so you both have glowing sticks, and Chewie does not.
Do I see him cast a spell?
Yeah.
Okay. I kind of laugh.
Nice. Mac does the same, and he pulls out like his little wand, and it's glowing from the tip of it as well. And he makes a joke that, it looks like Chad has finally figured out his wizardly powers.
I knew I'd always become a wizard one day.
Nice.
I
Mac
just kind of shrug at Chewie and just like, it makes him happy.
Nice. Mac gives you guys both a like sly smile as well, and just laughs at Chad, and then says, I think we're almost out of this forest. We should continue on our way towards the city. It's not too much longer than, a morning's travel into the city from here. Any ideas?
Let's head out.
All in agreement?
Yep.
Chad just like just looking at his light and just following where the group is like generally.
Nice. All right. So everyone heads off towards the direction you were originally going, and towards the other side of this clearing before the spider kind of distracted and attacked. And as you get through to the other side of the clearing, the dense but dead forest resumes, but you can start to see kind of the midday light through it, and it quickly gets to a point where the trees are like less and less and less, and you eventually there's just a couple of trees every 10 or 15 feet, you'll see one or two, and they're just getting more and more sparse. And the forest kind of breaks into this like rolling hill landscape, and far down at the bottom of these hills in the like open flat plains valley that you can see now is the city of Chance. And standing at the top of the hills at the end of the forest, you see the city below, which Chad, you faintly recognize from your time that you spent there. And Mac kind of lets out like a deep sigh and almost a gasp at the same time from recognizing it. And the city that you knew before to have like these great noble neighborhoods and very luxurious and expensive markets, and then equally like downtrodden areas with the gladiator pit and just this divided but huge city. It was the largest city in on Hef of the survivors of this world before the Lich's uprising happened. And what you see now is the same kind of general plot of land, and it's just absolutely seems to be just razed to the ground rubble and just the like corpses of buildings. And in the middle of it, there just stands one solid building left that seems to be in like perfect condition, and it's this giant multiple story tall bronze castle in the middle, and it's surrounded by walls and seems to be in the same exact point where the old gladiator pit was when you were kind of trapped here, Chad. And Mac turns to you and says, well, it looks a little different now, doesn't it?
I can't quite put my thingy on it, but what do you think about my light? I think it's really, really bright.
Mac holds his up as well, his wand, and he's like, look, it seems to be pointing towards the city, Chad, just like yours. I think we should hurry down and investigate.
Good, because I'm starting to get hungry.
And right as Max says that, like trying to talk Chad into continuing on, he like jokingly points his light at the city, and Deacon, the stick that you're holding is like beginning to get like intensely strong light and magic coming from it, and it's almost like letting off this like slight vibration that you can like feel. And it's not like rattling in your hand or anything. It's like a more of a sense, like you can feel the magic just like coming off of this thing as you get closer to the city.
Is it coming from the direction of that castle?
It's still like far enough in the distance that it's just like seems like that general direction. But as you kind of like wave it around, almost like like a divining rod type of a thing, like whenever you point it towards the general direction of the city, it just is like kind of you can feel it going off a little bit more intensely. So, I imagine that you guys just continue on in that general direction, and as you approach, you fairly uneventfully begin just the descent down the hillside. You can tell it's like quite a few miles, probably about a morning's travel worth, walking pretty constantly. You guys have been traveling across this island for a few days now, it seems, and you're pretty wore out already. We've had a couple of pretty big battles, and Mac is pretty short guy. He's kind of trotting along. He's not very excited to be here. He's very motivated to see what's going on and what happened to the place where he used to live, but he's exhausted. He's not used to this adventuring and you get about halfway down the foothills from the forest to where the city is at, and he just stops and collapses for a second and like drops down onto a knee and just like, all right guys, I need to take a break for a second. And he pulls out one of his patented potions and takes a sip of it, and he's like, all right, just hold on here for 1 minute, and then we can go on. And he starts to catch his breath, and if you guys would like, you can take a short rest. I don't know if you guys have rested or what your status is, but you can spend your hit die, whatever you want to do. If you have any abilities that interact with a short rest, you can go ahead and do that. How are you guys doing on HPs?
Well, when you leveled us up, it took them
Everything's
back
all
up.
reset? Okay.
Yeah.
So Mac wanted to take a short rest. And as you're kind of hanging out, let me reset his HP. As you're hanging around, he kind of sets up. He pulls out like a little the backpack that he's been carrying and kind of just like throws a pad on the ground and sits down for a second, breathing pretty heavily. I need you all to make a perception check for me. 13 from Deacon, 22 from Chewy. Very nice. 23 from Chad. So Mac, when he drops down on one knee and starts to breathe really heavily, he's tired. He's like kind of doing that thing where you feel like you have a pain in your side, like from not getting enough oxygen, like if you're running or something like that. And he's breathing in really heavily, and he's just like holding his side, and he pulls out his pack and sits down. And he beckons Deacon over, and he's like, hey, can you help me out for a second and just give me a quick medical opinion? No, I don't need any magic or anything. And he just asks you to come over and check out his side or whatever. He's feeling some pain. And as he beckons you over, Chad and Chewy, you guys kind of just standing next to each other at the front of the line of travel. And you notice that in between where you are stopped in the middle of the kind of foothills and the plains and the city, there seems to be this like shimmering light, almost like a barrier in front of you, in between you and your path forward. It's very faint. You just barely notice it as you're walking along, and it seems like you almost would have like ran right into it if Mac wouldn't have stopped right where he did. And you kind of like stop right when Mac does and turn around and see that he just wanted to take a breather. So you both just kind of hang out, and you're just randomly looking around, and you both at the same time kind of spot this like shimmering translucent barrier that just, it almost looks like just like a ray of, sunlight that's just causing this barrier or wall right in front of you, in between you and the city.
Whoa, what's this shiny thing?
Chad sees it too. Did you know about this little Chad?
To Mac?
Yeah.
He's like gripping his side, and like, Deacon, are you did you answer his call for aid?
Yeah, I probably went over there. I can give a little quick medicine check.
Nice. So yeah, you go over to him, and you're like, you're probably just exhausted from traveling, and Mac's a pretty stout little guy. He's a little out of shape from drinking all of his potions all day and not doing a whole lot. And he's just kind of exhausted, and you tell him like, you probably just need some actual hydration and a little bit more oxygen. And he sits there and he's just like trying to breathe for a second, and he looks up when Chad calls to him, and he sees that barrier as well, and he's like, be careful. I have no idea what that is. It appears to be some sort of magical barrier or something. Did it just appear there?
Oh, I thought that's why you stopped. I thought. Oh, okay.
Deacon will cast Detect Magic just to see if there's anything else that can be seen.
Hey, Chad, touch it with your magic stick.
Deacon, you cast Detect Magic, and you can like very clearly see that there is this like giant, almost like bubble like magical barrier that appears to like emanate from like this spot in front of you guys, and it looks like this entire circle that just encompasses the entire like open plains that you're walking into. It appears to be some sort of you kind of tell what school of magic something is with detect magic? Is that how that works?
Yeah, I think so.
So this glows in whatever like goldish color. I think it's like conjuration magic. So you can tell that some sort of magical barrier or bubble or something has been kind of placed here magically somehow. You can't really tell anything other than that. As you do that, though, the glow from this barrier and the like divining stick that you got from the tree ant appear to be like kind of in tune with each other, and the stick is like really going crazy when you point it at this barrier, and it's glowing with the same color.
All right. I will walk up to the edge of the barrier and touch it with the stick.
All right, you go up and you extend this stick and touch the barrier, and the stick just totally disappears and kind of just like poofs away with a little burst of this colorful glow that was coming off of it, and a perfectly like door shaped hole appears in this barrier, but it just, it looks like the barrier just cuts away, and it's not like you can see a door there or anything. It's like this very faint translucent light has now just disappeared in this little door shaped hole in the middle of the air.
We don't got much time. Chad runs through it.
All right, you all see Chad just instantly sprint through this hole in the barrier.
As long as it still looks open, I'll follow.
All right, Mac like stumbles to his feet, grabs his pack really quickly, and he's like, "All right, wait for me," and he starts running towards you guys as well.
I guess I prepare the help action in case he's too slow to stumble through the door.
He makes it in time just fine. Deacon, did you go through as well, or?
Yeah.
Okay. So as soon as you enter, the barrier kind of just reforms itself, like the ozone layer type of thing. It just like slowly, the whatever this light is of the barrier just kind of like melds back together, and you look backwards and you can see behind you as you entered the foothills and the forest that you just came from. There's starts to be this like mist and fog that has rolled over them, and after just a few minutes you stand there and watch, and you can't see the direction that you just came from anymore. It just appears to be this foggy, kind of clouded, hard to distinguish any features landscape behind you outside of the barrier. And ahead of you, when you turn back around, kind of a little confused and mystified by the strange like fog that instantly just rolled in, you see where this like destroyed husk of the city of Chance used to be. You now see this giant bustling city with these regular city walls and markets and buildings. Just a couple miles into the distance ahead of you, you can see this entire, like, it looks like the city that you had been to before, and even more, it looks like just this giant, like, fully realized capital city with activity and noises, and you can see it in its full just off in the distance.
Huh.
looks like it's alive. People.
When the barrier reformed, did the staff reappear, or is it gone?
It's as far as you can tell, it has not came back. It just poofed away as soon as that little door opened, and you don't see it anymore.
Has anyone considered that maybe once we entered this barrier, we inhaled some sort of disgusting corrupted mist, and now that's why we can't see outside properly, and the inside looks different than what we remember from the outside?
Mac,
do I look different to you guys?
Mac stares at you for a second, and he like looks you up and down. He's like, no, I think you're good, but you might need some of this." And he like tries to hand you one of his potions.
Don't drink that.
Right now, I don't see any bad guys.
He like takes it back and stashes it in his jacket. He's like, I just figured maybe you hit your head or something, and you're not feeling too good.
I mean, I'll take that for later. I mean, what are you doing with that?
He laughs and just sticks it back in his bag.
All right.
He does say, like, I agree that there's something strange here. Some sort of magical trick is at play here. I'm not sure what if this fog has something to do with it. And he tries to like walk back towards the direction that you came in, and like sticks out his wand and taps, and like the barrier seems to be physically stopping anyone from going back out. And he turns around. I guess we are going forward.
So is that Bronze Castle still there, or is it?
Yes, and you can see like now that the city seems to be like full of life, and you no longer see the like destroyed ruin of a city. It seems like the whole city is built around this castle. The castle is like standing in the center of the town, and you see buildings and walls and paths and everything like kind of just centered around the castle.
And that castle wasn't there when Chad and Chewie were originally here, right?
Correct. Chad and Mac was previously here as well.
And Mac.
Yeah, they don't recall that being there when they visited Chance before.
So does it look like the city was purposefully designed around this castle, as if the castle was always there and the city was built up around it then? Is that what you mean? Or
from the distance away that you are, it appears to be like relatively central in the city, but it's hard to say if it was like designed around it.
how far away are we from the city?
A mile or two at this point, like just across this open stretch of plains.
Because once we get within range, I'm going to use Iotos to kind of scout.
Sure.
Area.
So yeah, I'm assuming you guys are just gonna go get up as close as you can and then do that, or did anyone else have any ideas for your approach?
Nothing to hide behind, is there?
No, it seems like just an open field.
Not much choice then, really.
Okay.
I'm going to proceed cautiously, but
yeah.
Sure. So you guys can roll stealth if you want to. It's not going to help very much, but I will assume that everyone is just, keeping an eye out in all directions and proceeding carefully as a adventuring group would. And you get close enough that nice, we got a couple of stealth rolls. You get close enough that you can see the like city gates. There's a wall surrounding the city, and there are like, you know, some guard towers and gates with, you know, retractable or raisable gates and doors. And as you get close, you spot the first watchtower and gate, and you're probably, I don't know, within 1,000 feet, within maybe a football field's length, like 300 yards or so. And from the angle and distance that you're at, you can't see anybody in the guard tower. What would you guys like to do?
How tall is the wall around the city?
Oh, 30 feet.
Oh, okay.
Maybe more, maybe between 30 and 50. It's not like some gigantic thing, but it's pretty sizable. Mostly seems to be like stone, but there's places where it's just wooden and just like giant wooden planks. But the nicer areas or where the gates are at, it's a little bit sturdier stone. The gates seem to be raised. They're not closed around. You could enter if you were near them, it looks like.
Just to be cautious, I'll send Diatos up just to see if maybe we might not be able to see at this angle if someone's in the watchtower.
Sure. So with you, and you can like see through the owl's like vision and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you use your familiar to get closer to the city, and you're flying and checking things out, and you like swoop right by the watchtower. Don't see anybody inside, and the gate appears to be open. And the city walls, it's like essentially a big square around the city. Let me see if I actually have the map of the city pulled up here. If you guys can see on the page here. And this is like a very, very rough approximation of the map of this city. I haven't actually mapped out like the full thing yet. But imagine that this map, the entire thing is like surrounded by like a city wall. And this is the interior. You can like see above the city walls as you fly around, and you see the town on this map. Like there's a few neighborhoods and a big like church looking building and the castle in the center of the town, and it just seems to be normal. You don't see any guards posted at the watchtowers. There seems to be a couple people like wandering the paths, walking across the bridges and outside of houses and in and out of buildings into the markets, and there seems to be a couple people like walking around the castle gates. But yeah, that's what you see. Seems to be a normal town.
But you say I don't really see any like guards or anything like that. Just
Nope.
Normal townsfolk.
Yep. So about midday, it seems to be. The weather seems to be good. The gates are open everywhere. There's people just walking around like normal day.
And I will relay what I see to the rest of the group.
Okay. Chad, Chewy, Mac are all informed that there's seems to be nothing out of the ordinary. There's no guards posted, and the gates are open to the town. What do you guys think about hearing that, Chad and Chewy?
I say we go on in.
Sounds like a mighty fine idea to me.
Okay. Mac turns to you, Chad, and kind of speaks to all of you at the same time, but he's looking at Chad while he says this. He's like, you don't feel suspicious about this at all? Like, just a few minutes ago, it seemed like this place was totally destroyed, and you know as well as I do what happened to this place, right? Like, This doesn't seem weird to you at all.
Well, at first I thought it was the mist, but then everyone dismissed it, so it's not the mist. Dismissed mist.
Dismissed it. Max, like, well, even if it wasn't that, it could be something else. But
yeah, maybe again, maybe I do know, but then I stop knowing. Maybe it's a mist. I don't know. Let's go in.
He's like, oh my gosh! He takes a swig of that potion and stuffs it back in his robe pocket, and then he follows you, and you guys make your approach to the city gates. It's just a pretty normal path. You can see down at the bottom of this map on your screen here where these two like watchtowers are. On the inside of the gates, you can see like there's two more guard towers on the inside, and then this path that like follows the river up and crosses the bridge into the main neighborhoods of Chance, and then there's the castle, Castle Bronze, that's like surrounded by this moat, and that whole section is where the gladiator pit used to be. And as you approach from the bottom here, where those two guard towers are, you pass right up by the like gates into town and look around, and it's like totally clear. You don't see another person. You hear like faint noises in the far distance. All of you make a perception check for me, please.
Not this time.
Oh yeah.
Guess Mac will probably make one as well. Okay. So Deacon, as you all pass by the gates, you look and you're like looking at these stone archway that you walk under, where the gate is retracted up inside, and you walk through and like enter into the city proper, and you look at the archway while you pass under the gates, and you see a little bit of that like translucent like shimmering kind of look, the same with that barrier that you saw, and it seems like it's kind of like really 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 hard to detect, but there's like a faint layer of that seems to be coating the city walls and this archway as you walk underneath, and you see like the faintest glimmer of that as you walk through.
I'm going to point it out to Mac.
Okay.
He's the other one that would be knowledgeable of
Okay.
the arcane.
Sure. He will stop and take a look at it and check it out. He rolls a nat 1. He turns and stops and looks, and you kind of point it out to him, and he's like, what do you think it is, Deacon? Do you think that barrier is protecting everything here, or it's covering everything here? What? I don't even know what that thing was. Like, I've never seen any sort of magic that powerful before to cover an entire city landscape.
Deacon's probably just says, I think it has something to do with this relic that we're after.
Mac kind of like nods quickly at that. He's like, well, whatever happened here when we left here before, it was, the city was being taken over by the hordes of the Lich, and Lady Rosiel took over the city at the Lich's command, and obviously something to do with his power is influencing this place. I have no idea what it could be, but I think you're right.
Does Deacon know about there being like the parallel worlds and things like that with the aren't we essentially in like
so
an offshoot of...
I would assume that like when you were brought to Aegis by rabble and you were like introduced to the Elder Council and all of that stuff, I would assume that like just off screen they would have caught you up on everything real quick. But you essentially everyone kind of has deduced at this point through the help of the like artificer that is like heading the kind of research into the Lich in the Elder Council, Tweed. He's kind of figured out that this place is like an alternate timeline of the regular world that has been trapped in this world that's cut off from the ties to the gods and the outer worlds. There's no planar transport is possible here unless like by great power from a god on the outside can like put you in here, as with all of you that happened. But it seems to just be like kind of a locked off realm that was caused by some great ritual that the Lich tried to do.
Because right now, Deacon's probably considering that this might be some kind of alternate timeline, multiverse type thing, or like we're seeing
The future?
Probably the city's past.
Within the city,
right?
the city past, didn't the city's past have a coliseum where that castle is?
Right, but I think since the Colosseum was like erected by that relic, that's kind of like the anchor point. Like the Colosseum or the castle would be there no matter what. And then we somehow slipped into the city past for the rest of it, if that makes sense.
Sure. Mac appears to just be like deeply both confused and contemplating this at the same time. Like he's like, I guess that makes as much sense as any theory I could come up with. I think like that it's got to be one possible explanation. I don't know how the entire city could just appear to be rebuilt before our eyes like this. We must have stepped through some sort of magical barrier. Obviously, we did.
Because, I mean, the other possibility is that the city was never destroyed and that there was an illusion outside of that bubble that we're actually passed through.
Ah. Mac, he, like, peeks up at that and he's like, see, I do agree with that. I think there's some sort of trick being played upon us. And I don't like being tricked, he says, and he, like, grumbles and takes a swig of his potion.
But I mean, Deegan doesn't really know what happened to the city before.
So the quick rundown, like,
when it was taken over by undead, right?
Essentially, like the party was taken capture here by Lady Rosiel, who is one of the nobles that kind of like helped run the city, and they were enslaved and thrown into the gladiator pits and had to like fight their way up through the ranks. And after winning a fight and kind of making it look too easy, I guess, the person who was in charge of like setting up the gladiator fights and controlling the city, they were not impressed and they were gonna like kill off the party. But right as that happened, the Lich appeared in some form, like hovering above the city, and announced his return to power and return to like full strength, and just like started turning people into the undead and like causing this like wave of chaos to take over the city. And the party like narrowly escaped the city and ran into the foothills to escape the island during all of the chaos. So the last time they saw the city, it was like they were escaping the Colosseum and all of the like civilians of the town were just like being turned into undead.
So how long ago was it that happened?
Maybe, I don't know how long it's been in game time since that. You guys did a couple of adventures. It's probably been maybe a month, I would say. Maybe more, maybe less. A month, give or take a few weeks.
So I mean, from what we can tell, the townspeople appear to be normal, right? Just kind of living out their lives.
From what you can tell, it seems to be that way. When you were scouting with your owl, you think that you saw a couple people, like wandering around like normal.
Yeah, because I mean, it seems strange that you guys left the city, being overtaken by undead, and then in the few weeks since then, it's back to normal. Like,
That does seem strange. Chad, what do you think is happening here?
I don't know. I think it's the mist, guys. I really think it's the mist. It's
It's a
getting to our
trap.
heads.
Mac is like turns to Chad, and Deacon is like kind of nods. He's like, it's definitely something either messing with us or we stumbled upon, some secret that we weren't supposed to, and we can see that things are not the way that we thought they were. Should we continue to try to find what we're after?
I want to try to talk to one of the townspeople and get a sense of what they know and what they remember.
Sure. So
I don't know if we should go talk to people. What if it's like a nightmare and then all of a sudden everything turns into skeletons and everything's broken at the moment you talk to somebody?
Well, then we'll know that that's what's
Oh,
happening.
well, no. Well, I mean, maybe we should use stealth.
you got so
It's gonna be hard
I
to
mean,
stealthily
no
talk
one
to
would
a
be
townsperson.
stupid enough to come back here. They wouldn't expect this. So I feel like if we have one advantage, it's that we're going to show up here at all.
so Deacon, when you scouted, can you guys all see the map on the screen on Roll20?
Yeah.
So essentially, I would say that you're standing like right by these two guard towers at the bottom of town here, and where you saw the like closest village townsfolk would be like across this bridge, like across the top bridge by the river next to this little market. Like if you followed the path up by these trees and across that bridge right there, that you think that you saw a couple of people like walking and carrying goods towards the market and stuff. So that's where you assume that would be the first place you could find some people. And Chad suggests being cautious, and Mac kind of like goes up and stands behind Chad. And he's like, "I agree. I'm a little scared here, but I'll follow you guys," he says.
I mean, I think we should try to head to the market regardless of if we're going to try to sneak up on people or not.
Okay. So you guys start heading off on the path, or Chewy, what are you thinking?
I say we go on the path. Just be stealthy as we can be.
Okay, everybody roll stealth. Everybody that wants to, anyways. Okay. Mac rolled a 12. So yeah, you're all kind of slowly like sticking behind the trees on this path, and the trees, like as you walk along, you can just see that the trees kind of block the view from the other side of the river, like where the neighborhood and the houses are at. So as you walk along this path, you essentially feel like you are able to, walk in between each tree on this path towards the bridge without feeling like you're raising too much suspicion, you walk along rather quickly and quietly, and you all feel stealthy as you're trying to be, and you get to the bridge, and you can see it's not a huge bridge, just a little foot traffic bridge, just wide enough to bring maybe a horse cart over if someone was traveling here to bring in some goods to the market or something. And across the bridge, you can see maybe 20 feet the smaller walls surrounding this market, which is essentially just a smaller neighborhood with, shops and stalls and vendors inside of it. Outside of the door into the market, you can see what looks like an old woman in like a blue dress and like a straw hat that's kind of old and like floppy, and she's standing there like sweeping the dust away from the entryway of the gates to the market. And you're all kind of like right before the bridge. You're like behind that last tree there, so you haven't really made yourself known yet.
Does she look alive?
Make a investigation check. $17, nice. Yeah, you don't notice anything that seems too strange about her. She seems like a pretty normal older woman. Maybe you would guess she looks like she's human. From you're maybe a decent distance away. You're probably 100 feet away, so you see this old woman kind of like craned over sweeping. She looks like she's had a hard life. She's like really bad posture, bent over with her neck crooked down, and she looks like maybe a mid-60s older woman sweeping the ground. And you can't see her face. It's like this hoppy or flappy straw hat, but you can see her like arms are exposed, and they just look like old lady arms.
Near death. Okay, I got it.
She just keeps kind of walking around the front of this building, sweeping dust away from the front. Occasionally she'll bend down and like put a hand on a knee and bend down and take a breather for a second, and then pick up like a rock that's like in the path, and she'll toss it off into the grass on the side of the pathway. She just seems like she's like maintaining the path and just sweeping along.
Near death, you say, huh? As in, just woke up this morning from the dead?
That was definitely Chewie's interpretation of it. That was not my description.
Hasn't died yet.
Right. Close. Very old.
But it's going in reverse. Don't you understand?
Oh, it's Benjamin Button Town.
It's about to get creepy, guys. I want to be the first to talk to somebody.
What would you guys like to do?
Like,
I'll walk up to the old lady.
This mist is from
And greet her.
So Chewie, you just straight up start walking across the bridge?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, I'll approach her too.
All right, Chad, do you follow?
Yes, very nervously.
All right.
Watching my
I
back.
not want to give her a heart attack by having a bugbear be the first thing she sees.
Sure. So Deacon like quickly like scrambles ahead to meet and reach where Chewie is across the bridge. And as you both kind of come over the other side of the bridge, Chad and Mac slowly approach as well and join you guys, but stay a little distance back. And Mac is kind of like, grabbing onto the side of Chad and like shaking a little bit. He's like, oh gosh, what's going to happen? And as you cross the bridge, it's pretty hard to be stealthy at this point. Chewie's pretty large and this bridge is not. And the old woman keeps sweeping and looks up, and she kind of raises her eyes a little bit. You can see her face emerge from under this floppy straw hat. She just looks like a kind of graying, older, but kind woman. Her eyes kind of light up a little bit for a second before she just like goes back to being calm. She opens her eyes wide and sees you all, and just gives a little tip of the straw hat and then looks down and moves out of the way of the doorway and begins sweeping again.
That's your cue, Deacon.
Yeah, I'll go up to her and just say, "Greetings, ma'am."
Nice, very nice. So you approach this woman and you get within a few feet, and she stops and just leans on the broom and looks at you as you say that, and she's like closed mouth, a little bit of a smile at you, and then just turns away and keeps sweeping.
This ain't right, guys. This ain't right.
Mm, I'll ask her. I was hoping you could give me directions to your church.
When you say that, make a perception check for me.
Nope.
Nice. She turns back around and does the same like gesture as before. She like holds the broom upright with her hand, like both of her hands resting on it, and just like gives you a little bit of a smile. But then she like turns and does just the slightest like head nod toward the Castle Bronze that you can see across the river.
Um, and pray tell me, what god uh do you pray to here?
um, Again, with both hands like resting on the top of the broomstick, she just like kind of blank eyes stares at you, and at this point her face when you're looking at her just it looks like it's totally like glazed over, like she's looking through you, and just a little bit of a faint smile, and then she like nods her head towards the castle and resumes sweeping. And then
I'm going to do detect magic.
okay, um is detect magic a cantrip?
It is for me. I can do it at will.
Nice, that's good.
One of my invocations.
Very cool. So when you do this, like the entire old woman's body is like outlined with that same like golden light glow that the magical barrier and that you saw like kind of surrounding the walls of the city. Like her entire being is like surrounded by that glowing barrier as well.
And you said it was like a conjuration school?
That's what you would like assume. Like it seems to be some like translucent type of barrier, or just a translucent light that just seems to be surrounding all of these things. It's tough to say. You haven't seen anything like this before, but it appears to be that would be the closest, at least like DM like meta knowledge. This type of magic, I would assume, would conjuration would be like close, if not maybe is illusion a school as well, like illusory magic, or is that also conjuration? Okay, it'd be like maybe a mix between the two, like kind of like a colorful glow mixture between those two schools.
Okay. Hmm. And like when I kind of look around, do I see it on
Everything.
like the trees, the buildings, everything?
Everything.
Mm, okay. So I just kind of smile and nod to her and then walk back to the group.
Okay, as you do, she never moves from that like that posture that she has where she's like leaning with both hands on the broom and just kind of like blankly smiling and staring at you, and just continues to watch you as you like move back towards the party.
Hey, maybe this is what it's like when the witch takes over, you know? Like he puts us under this giant like spell, this giant bubble where everything is just roses and peaches and everything's nice, but everything's just actually just rubble and we're just like undead, just like moving rocks up and down the hill. I mean, I don't think that's that bad of a life, to be honest. He's actually pretty merciful if you think about it.
I'm gonna be like, she's not real. None of this is real.
Mac.
I could be on the track, guys.
Mac is like, yeah, maybe it's that mist stuff like I thought, you guys.
Like I thought. It's the mist, it's getting to your head.
Mac's like, I'm pretty sure that was my idea.
Now you think you're Chad.
So Mac's like, Deacon, what do you mean she's not really? What you think you know what's going on?
Everything around here is covered in illusion and conjuration magic.
He like strokes his like red beard. He's like, illusion and conjuration, like some sort of mass spell is affecting this whole place, I guess.
Like, I don't say this in character, but it's basically the Sinestro Corps. Like, it's the Yellow Lantern. It's hard light.
That like, is there a spot on the? Let me look at the character sheet. You can just add inspiration, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So go to your character sheet, Deacon, and click that little box. You can take some inspiration from that. That's awesome. I'm a huge comic book fan, and Sinestro is one of my favorite villains. That's super awesome. Very nice. Not
It's
saying
like everything's covered in yellow. And
not saying that you like solved the case already, but,
right, but yeah.
that is a really cool interpretation, and I'm a huge fan of Green Lantern. So very cool.
That's basically what Deacon's thinking though, is that these are illusions made real.
Okay. So I think like Chad and Mac both seem to like kind of be on that same wavelength. Like Mac was very skeptical already, and he's like, okay, if that's what you think it is, like I believe it. This place is crazy. I'm super skeeved out. Chewy, when you saw that, like you were the one that wanted to walk up and talk to the old lady. When you saw Deacon go up and see that all go down, what do you think is going on?
I don't know. She just does the same thing over and over again. When he tried talking to her, it's like she doesn't understand.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And as you're all like talking about this, and Deacon is kind of like hushed, like saying like none of this is real, guys. Like what's going on here? And Chewy's like, you're all talking this out, trying to figure out your plan, and you can just see her standing over there on the corner, like just both hands on her broom, like looking into all of you, like she's looking into your souls, just like staring. And you realize like maybe she hasn't even blinked this entire time, and she's just watching you.
Are we supposed to do something to make her reset and like turn around? Because like this is a really creepy angle. It's like her eyes follow you.
Every time you ask her a different question, she tells us to go to the castle.
I feel like she could hear us from all the way over there. I mean, she just keeps looking at us, guys. Maybe it does have a soul. Maybe it's trapped inside and it's just like helplessly watching.
Well, I feel like if she was a real person under some kind of spell, she would have registered as an enchantment spell rather than illusion and conjuration.
Okay, I can go with that.
Those are big words.
Big magic words, yes. I'm also I'm assuming we're done with her and can leave, so she's not creeping us out anymore.
What if she follows us? Oh God.
Yeah, you guys can do whatever you want at any time. Like, don't just feel like you have to wait on me to explain anything. Like, if you have an idea for what you want to do, just go for it.
Like, I definitely want to keep detect magic up.
Okay.
And like as we're traveling, I want to kind of like poke at any of the things that I see as being magical, which I'm assuming is everything.
Sure.
Just to kind of, because like I know, like I'm sure Deacon would know, like he has minor illusion. He knows the how to, you have to interact with the illusions before you can like see through them and all that.
Sure.
So just to kind of test that like illusions made real part rather than just a regular old illusion that we are just too dumb to see through.
Sure.
Mhm.
So you kind of have this plan of like continuing on through the city, but like closely investigating everything and using your knowledge of the arcane and your own abilities to assist with that. And Chad, you from your previous experience with this place, like to get to the castle, like you could just cross the river if you wanted to. It's like not a particularly like dangerous, like crazy whitewater rapids, like flowing river. It's just like a wide river, you can quickly get there if you just go through the neighborhoods and follow the pathway and go around from the backside, like where you see the other little bridge in between that like wooden fence surrounded little camp and the castle. That little bridge kind of connects all of these little neighborhoods, so you can get into that island that the castle is on from the backside over there, or you can just go across the water, whatever you choose. But as you go along, um, you're still right next to the marketplace, and you can go around it. There's a pathway all the way around, just like a nice sidewalk path that just totally surrounds the marketplace and connects to the path in the neighborhoods on the backside. Or you can just go through the middle and out the other side. Um, Up to you guys.
Jack could go for a dip.
Okay.
How
So,
wide is this river?
not very, maybe 10, 15 feet across. It seems to be a couple feet deep. Like, you, at its deepest, you would have to, like, swim across. You couldn't just, wade your way through it. But it doesn't seem to be too dangerous or anything.
I suggest we test the waters. Throw Mac in.
Mac does not
I'm
agree.
I smile at Mac and wink at him when I say it.
He laughs nervously, like very nervously, and then agrees that you should test the waters, but not with him. um, Deacon, you're standing next to the wall of the like marketplace, and you're all like kind of just in front of the marketplace doors next to the wall, and there's the pathway leading towards the castle, but it stops at the river and goes and turns around the corner of the marketplace, and the old woman's still just standing there staring at all of you. And you kind of like quickly turn and look at the wall of the marketplace and poke at it, um, and make a investigation check for me.
Does it really exist?
And I'm assuming you still have detect magic up just this entire time. As you poke at the wall, it seems like when you touch it, it looks like the wall of this marketplace is just like a big stone, like what's like an adobe type of a clay, like kind of Middle Eastern inspired marketplace type of a building, like a big open courtyard surrounded by like a clay stone wall. You poke at the stone wall on the outside near the door where you're at, and the like shimmering glow from the magical like barrier that seems to be surrounding everything, it almost like glitches a little bit when you touch it, and it shimmers, but then it just seems to like ripple back into its like regular shape as you do that.
So I see that with like the detect magic app.
Yeah, when you, I don't, I'm just assuming you just poked it with a stick or something.
Yeah, like with my quarterstaff or something.
Yeah, it ripples a little bit, and the glow kind of changes, like a rippling light emanating from where you like tapped on the wall, but then it just quickly like returns to the previous form.
Do I see anything like in quote unquote reality when it ripples? Like, does the wall change to like a burned out husk in that little spot, or is it still just
Not as far as you know, it
what I'm
just
saying?
still looks like the same structure. You just see a little bit of that barrier kind of waver.
Okay. Does that happen whenever I poke it in a few other places to see if it
Yeah,
does
pretty
that?
much the same exact result. Just some light rippling of that magical, like translucent barrier.
I'm taking it he's the only one that sees it, right?
Are you guys watching what he's doing? What are all you doing while he's kind of tapping at the wall? Um,
Oh, I'm watching.
okay.
I'm watching.
Yeah, you all see it.
So I walk over to a tree
Okay.
and tap on it the same way with my staff.
Okay. There. So you're right in front. The kind of like a little open courtyard area right in front of the marketplace where you came across the bridge and saw the old woman sweeping, and you're all still just standing there, like Deacon's tapping on the wall in front of the marketplace, and Chewy walks up to this tree that's right in front here, and you tap on it with your quarterstaff, and it you get like a nice solid thud back with the staff. You feel like you hit something, and there's a little bit of a ripple of glowing translucent light that kind of just ripples away from the point where you hit the tree and then dissipates.
Okay. I don't think any of this is real, guys. Thing is, we won't know what's real until we come to it and try it. I hate to walk up and poke a monster and find out it's real.
Man, that would be fun for me.
Well, that's why detect magic is handy, because if it doesn't glow magically,
It's real.
then it's real.
Okay.
Maybe.
Uh-oh.
Potentially.
I'm just messing with you guys at this point. I'm not going to tell you anything. So, you all are still standing in front of the marketplace here. You've all done your investigations.
Yeah.
So you should just go to the castle. What do you think?
Let's head to the castle.
Okay, did you decide which way you all want to go?
Chad wants a dip.
Do we know how deep the water is?
It's like you would have to swim across, so you couldn't just walk across the river. You'd have to like swim at some point, but it's not like it's like some crazy treacherous like rapids type river.
Does the water have any kind of magical glow to it?
So you guys walk towards the river. When you turn away from I guess Chewy turns away from the tree that he was inspecting, and Deacon the wall, and Chad, you like stop watching Deacon tapping at the wall, and you all turn back towards the path to walk towards the river. The woman is gone. And
well, I'm gonna have nightmares forever.
you all walk towards the river, and Deacon is still kind of like tapping on everything as he goes by and getting the same effects. And you get to the river, and it doesn't seem to be like anything out of the ordinary. You can see some of that like translucent barrier just like naturally shimmering across the ground and stuff as you walk around, and the river like seems to be happening around there as well, but there's not like any glow coming out of the water or anything like that.
So whatever this illusion stuff is, it doesn't seem to be affecting the water.
As you get up to the edge of the water and you look across and you see like Castle Bronze in its full glory for the first time, the like outline and this like shimmering light barrier that has been covering everything, it's like blinding from the reflection and from this castle. What you see on the map here is like not accurate. The map making tool that I use does not have like a sweet metallic bronze castle image, but that's what it would be. It's like this giant, like it looks like the walls of the castle and the guard towers and the castle itself are just like plated in like solid bronze metal, and the whole thing is just glowing and reflecting light off of it everywhere. And with your detect magic, you can just see the whole thing is just like lit up like a Christmas tree with this barrier.
Well, I guess my concern is that we're going to be like, all right, let's jump in the river and swim across, but in reality, we're swimming through acid or something. Like,
There's only one way to find out. It's not a
Hey,
fun
Mac.
way if that's what happens. Mac, like
we're back to tossing Mac in.
Mac peeks from behind Chad's leg and he's like, no.
I'll probably walk up to the edge and like stick the end of the quarterstaff in for a second or two.
Yeah, the water just flows around it. It just seems like you stick the staff in, pull it out, water drips off the end. It just looks like normal water.
All right, who wants to go swimming first?
I'll go in, but I'm not going in alone.
Okay. Mac at this point is like glued to your side, Chad, and he's like, "Oh, if you're going, I'm gonna go with you. Just watch my back. I'll watch yours, I guess."
Yeah, we'll be like that classic tale. I don't remember what the two animals were, but I think it was the tortoise and the hare. You swim on my, I'm swimming and you're on my back.
You mean the scorpion and the frog? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is not a good story to be reenacting.
This is just like that. Yeah, the tortoise and the scorpion.
All right. I think.
All right, Mac, get on my back.
Mac like knows that story. I think it's probably a story in this world as well. And Mac's like, does that mean are you the scorpion? Like what does that mean? Like can you swim? And
get on my back.
He jumps on your back, but he's like super confused and now he's really scared. I guess roll athletics.
Chad?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how far away is the entrance from where we're at on shore?
It looks like the river's maybe 15 feet wide, and then you know the castle walls are right there. You can't see an entrance to the castle wall from the side that you're facing, so you're not sure. 17. All right, Chad, you just you kind of like walk into the river, I guess, and start to try to cross.
Just like dip my toe.
Okay, so you dip your toe in. It's pretty cold water. It's about midday, but it's not like the heat of the summer or anything. It's like a pretty brisk, normal, maybe fall day, and it's pretty cold.
Well, Chad must like it then.
Yeah, you probably do. It's probably been a while actually since you've like felt like super cold, brisk.
Hell yeah! I've been like in the like desert and like gross, like musty, like misty swamps.
Yeah,
like,
yeah, you probably actually do like it. So you get kind of that rush of familiarity and nostalgia, and you feel that, and you just hop in and start to head across. And as you're about halfway across the river and Mac is on your back and he's like watching, and he turns around and looks at Chewie and Deacon as you're about halfway across this river, like Chad, you're big enough that you can kind of like tread water across. You don't have to like full on like breaststroke. You can just like slowly float across with Mac, and the current is not strong enough that it's really taking you anywhere. You're kind of maybe all the way across the river. You drift like 2 or 3 extra feet down, but it's not that hard to like stay in the same spot. It's a pretty lazy, like slow moving body of water. But Mac looks back across as you're about halfway over and looks at Chewie and Deacon, and he kind of gives you like a half scared but reassuring, like he kind of like shrugs and is like, I guess it's safe. Like, let's go, guys. And he like beckons you over as Chad continues across.
So how wide is this river anyway?
15 feet ish.
I'm gonna try to do a running jump.
Sure. Yeah, I don't see why not.
Nobody likes to smell the bugbear hair. Wet bugbear
Wet
hair.
bugbear, worse than wet dog.
So am I doing acrobatics or athletics for the jump?
I think it's what is jumping normally, like a acrobatics or no, athletics, like strength type of a deal.
Okay.
Yeah, I think athletics.
Okay.
Seems good enough. I think Chewie, like, you're what, nearly 10 feet tall. You can almost reach 10 feet just with your arms. I don't see a world where you couldn't jump across this. So Chad is about halfway across, waiting with Mac on his back, and Chewie, you kind of take a couple of steps back, but not very many, and you just start to like get a running jump, and you leap through the air. And Deacon, you're watching this, and like as you're tracking Chewie's leap through the air, you look to like anticipate where he's gonna land, and across the river on the other side near the wall, you see the figure of this little old woman in a blue dress with a like straw hat, and she's sweeping the wall next to the castle. And Chewie lands on the shore.
She's over at the castle where he just landed?
Correct.
Like right next to him? Like, does he see her?
He landed on the shore, and she's like up next to the wall, just like it seems like she's like sweeping dirt and dust away from the bottom of the wall. And yeah, I guess when you land, Chewie, you're like on the shore, maybe 15-20 feet away from the walls of the castle, and you can see this old woman sweeping the ground. And Chad, you can see her now, as well as you're like you get to the other side of the river and cross, no problem. You get out, shake yourself off, Mac jumps off, and you all just are standing there, and you see this old woman sweeping the side of the castle wall.
Is it the same old woman?
I don't know. You can make an investigation check.
Okay.
Deacon, are you gonna attempt to cross?
I'm considering.
I have no idea.
Athletics is not Deacon's strong point.
Sure. Chewie,
Yeah.
you look at it and you can't see any difference. It just looks like the same old woman from before. Blue, kind of old dress with a broom and a straw hat. 13, yeah, that's fine. Are you trying to swim or jump across?
I'll just swim.
Okay, yeah, you make it just fine. It's a little bit cold. You feel like it's, to you, when you get in, you're not like as acclimated to cold stuff and into it as Chad. When you like fully get submerged in this water and swim across, you feel like a deep, like almost to the bone cold. And when you get out on the other side, you're like very relieved to be back out of the water, and you kind of shake yourself off and you dry off pretty quickly. You're not like, your clothes are not soaked.
Cool.
And you all see this old woman just sweeping around.
Yeah, I'm
She
just
moves
gonna
around
let
pretty quick.
What was that, Deacon?
Actually, I'm gonna do the investigation check to see if she seems to be the same
Okay.
woman, just in case.
As far as you know.
She does look like to be the same.
Yeah, the
As
same.
far as you know.
Yeah, from the clothing that you recognize, like same looking like old, kind of old school blue dress that goes down to the floor and sweeping straw hat. Looks like the same lady.
This ain't right, guys.
I mean,
She's-
for all we know, all of
she's
the
quick.
townspeople look the exact same. Since none of them are real. This is all an illusion.
Yeah, either that or she's awful quick.
I mean, that's possible too.
So you're on the other side of the water on the same land as the castle now.
So I know this. I know this. I would know the stories about how this town was taken over and all.
Correct. Yeah, you guys can assume that you know everything that everyone else does.
Okay. Chad, does this look like who was Lady Ozero?
Oh, Lady Rosiel. It definitely not. You would know from
Okay.
descriptions and Chad would know and stuff. Like Lady Rosiel's like this very regal and noble looking like wizard woman. She's got like red robes and like fancy jewelry and stuff like that. And she's like a very regal, noble woman.
Okay.
She would certainly consider sweeping beneath her.
Well, if you want to ignore her, that's fine. Let's find a way.
You guys want to find a way inside?
Yeah, let's look.
All right. So you're standing at like the side that's facing the like bottom right of the castle walls. You can see it's just like a flat wall. So you see the old woman sweeping the like corner of the wall, and then you can either go to the left or right around the corner. It's up to you guys.
Right there at the door.
Don't take the map as like canon. Just pretend that the map is just a giant square like bronze castle wall.
All right. Okay. Just don't feel like I should try to enter anywhere that the lady is at. I think I want to enter on a different side. What do you think, guys?
Yeah, let's avoid the creepy lady.
Makes sense.
Chad mutters under his breath, like, "There's no escaping her now."
Mac like tugs on your arm to he's like, let's get out of here. Let's find a way in and just get this over with.
Chad's like, "Yeah, if it's not already too late."
So Mac just takes off like creeped out by the lady, and he just goes and starts to head towards like the left to go around the corner. Start peeking around. Anyone object to that?
No.
All right. So as you guys come around the corner, this side of the castle, you can actually see it like opens up into like the interior. There's like an interior courtyard before the castle gates, and you can actually see the gates on this side that would go into the like interior of the castle. If you guys know anything about castles, they're usually just like a big wall essentially with like a littler town inside of them, and maybe the main castle is like one like giant house within the walls of the castle itself. So you can see the walls stop, and there's a little courtyard and the gate right here, and I have a map for that, I think. Yes. So you you see on this side of the castle walls, you see a couple little tents in the courtyard and the castle gate itself that appears to be closed, a giant like oak gate that is reinforced with metal and seems to be closed down, and some small buildings, rocks strewn about, and seems pretty quiet other than just the flow of the river and whatnot. You all, I guess I'll place your characters on the map here. Get to use Deacon's awesome new artwork for the first time.
Yay.
Yeah, looks really good. I'm happy with that. All right. And Mac. Giant Mac.
Go get him, Mac. You're big.
Okay, so I don't know where you guys would have came. You came like around the corner, I guess. So you're somewhere in this general area. There's a couple small buildings. What looks like a guards barracks type of a house that is directly above where you all are on the map, and then just some small tents and the castle walls. What would you guys like to do?
Should we check the tents out first, or what?
Yeah, let's go steal their stuff.
I'm thinking more like, don't leave nobody behind me.
Whatever you guys want to do.
That's fine with me. Check the tents out.
Okay.
Anybody?
The one right below you, Chewy, you kind of come around and peek inside. You look in and make an investigation check for me.
Who was making that investigation check?
Chewy is the one that was looking inside the tent, I assume, unless anyone else is doing stuff as well.
Yeah, I'm looking as well.
Okay. Yeah, you guys can all follow down and peek in.
Probably isn't a good time to split up.
I got something in my eye, so I ain't seeing very well.
7, 16 from Chad, 13 from Deacon. Mac will peek in as well, but he is just like looking through Chad's legs and does not see anything. Chad, as you peek over Chewy's shoulder into this tent, you recognize this. This was the tent of Cracklash, the mentor who like was kind of assigned to be your assistant / teacher in the gladiator ring, who helped your party like fight through the ranks and kind of gave you guys tips along the way, and was really like the only person in like the slums that was trying to help everyone and help out all of the downtrodden and poor people of Chance. And he was kind of like the leader of the slums. And you remember this as Cracklash's tent, and you remember the way that he died when the leader of Chance was going to execute all of you for not like appealing to his wishes in the gladiator ring. Cracklash like stood up for all of you, and he got himself killed. And that is minutes before the Lich like appeared and started all of the chaos in the city. Cracklash was killed by the head of the gladiator pits. You remember this was his tent, and you see an axe inside of it, a great big giant great axe with like double blades on each side that you remember that was his weapon of choice. He was a very large, like half orc man. For those of you that never met Cracklash, he was like this big old burly half orc barbarian type of a guy who was like the original like head of the gladiator pits, who was the first kind of slave of chance to win his freedom in the gladiator pits. And after he won his freedom, he elected to stay in the slums to help mentor people to win their own freedoms. He could have, like, anyone that won their freedom from the pits got to like move into the noble part of the city and be a free man. But Cracklash elected to stay in the slums just to help other people. Like, he was a very like charitable person, and this was where he stayed.
R.I.P. Cracklash.
Yeah. His axe is sitting on like kind of a stand next to this little cot that's set up inside the tent, and there's a dresser right next to it.
So with detect magic up, is anything in the tent magical?
The tent itself, you see, is like glowing with that magical barrier. All of the bed and the dresser and everything inside seems to be covered in that translucent barrier as well. And the axe is glowing with like enchantment glow from detect magic. Seems to be like a magical weapon of some sort.
The X is magic.
It's all yours, Chad.
Magic axe? Is it magic as in it's a magical axe, or is it magic as in it's not real and I shouldn't even look at it?
Maybe both.
Well,
But definitely the first one.
let's touch it.
All right, you pick it up. It's a magic axe.
How magic is it?
Extremely heavy. When you go to pick it up, like, you would normally like grab it in the middle of the like axe handle, I guess, like in the middle of the shaft of it, and grab it and pick it up with one hand and then like place it in two hands like you normally would with like a two-handed weapon. You go to pick it up with one hand and you like barely can lift this thing. It is like insanely heavy.
Whoa, man. What does Cracklash eat in the morning?
Dirt nowadays.
I gotta get on that diet.
So you pick up the axe and it's like intensely heavy. Like, you try to decide in your head like if you could even accurately swing this thing in combat, and like to pick it up and chop somebody with this thing would be quite the feat of strength.
I don't know if I can use this right now, guys. Even with my awesome belt and my cool shades and my sick cape.
You hold it, and you can carry it around. It seems like it may be too heavy to wield, but you don't exactly know what sort of enchantment or magical abilities are on it, and it seems to not really be making you feel any sort of particular power coming out of it. It just feels very heavy.
Well, I'm stumped for what this thing's purpose is, but I guess I can drag it around, guys.
So you don't see anything else inside the tent other than the like bedside table that is next to the cot. And
Like usually axes are used for cutting and chopping.
Genius.
Yeah, but cutting and chopping what? Cutting and chopping
like
who?
Probably people.
So Chad, you can add the axe of Cracklash the Savage to your inventory.
Alrighty. Got it.
All right. So,
Whoops, misclick.
nope, that's all good. You all like pop back out of the tent and back to the courtyard in front of the gates of the castle.
Well, I'm glad we stole their stuff, guys. Thanks
You
for
wanna
not
check-
fighting me on that. That was a really good idea.
Want to check the other tent to the left?
If that's what you guys want to do.
Yeah,
Sure.
let's go for it. I mean, so
Might as
far
well.
we haven't
found a
found
magic
something.
X in this one.
So, as you pop from out behind the big, like, it's kind of like a dual person tent, the one that Cracklash stayed in. He was like the leader of the slums, which back then all of this area was just covered. It was like a tent city of poor, gladiators and slaves, and he had like the nicest big tent, but it was still, kind of junky. You pop out from behind this big tent, and up next to the door, 1 second.
That's a little old lady, I bet.
Hey, don't spoil it for everyone, Chewy.
Just had this gut feeling.
You're not wrong.
Oh God.
You walk out from behind the tent and kind of crossing the courtyard towards the other smaller tent to investigate it. You see this little old woman in a blue dress and a straw hat just sweeping up all the dirt and rocks, and you can see around the courtyard there are quite a few like pebbles, and it appears like there's a slight residue left over from like moving lots of things and construction. Like you all heard like the rumors that this castle was constructed by the Lich's army like very quickly, and you can kind of see like there's a lot of rocks and debris and rubble kind of left around, but it's like this lady's like sweeping it around. She doesn't seem to be paying any mind to all of you as you head across the courtyard.
Does she look the same as the other two?
Same exact clothes and hat and broom and demeanor as far as you can tell.
What do you want to do, guys?
Cool. It's not creepy at all.
Yeah.
So when do we murder her?
When we have to.
Exactly.
I think we're past that point, guys. She's disappearing, teleporting. She knows something we don't, and I don't like it.
Up to you guys to decide whatever you want to do.
I'm still want to check out that other tent.
Sure.
Yeah, me too.
All right. Yeah, you guys wander over to the other smaller tent. This one, what you can tell, it just appears to be like a single person tent, like maybe one of the people who lived in the slums or a worker, maybe some type of guard or construction worker, something like that. Just a single person, like really shoddy little canvas tent, single person thing. There's a small cot inside when you peek in, and another little like really small little like lock box on the side of the bed that kind of makes do as like an end table, but it's just a small little thing.
I'll walk up to the lockbox.
Sure. You are in front of it.
What would I mean, I'm not a thief. I mean, a rogue. Can I check for traps, even though I'm not a rogue?
Yeah, I think so. Just investigation, right?
honestly, I'm not sure.
You can, like, by rules as written, you can just investigate and check for traps. I think rogues just
Okay.
generally have a better score at doing so and have more abilities that assist with that, but there's nothing that stops you from doing it.
Except for my rolls.
That is that is true. You don't see anything that looks like a trap that you would know of.
Okay. I think that'll. Am I able to open it if I wanted to by looking at the way it looks?
You want to see if you can open it by looking at it?
No, the way it looks.
I know. I'm just
The way
kidding.
it looks. Okay.
It looks
All
like a box that could be opened. Yeah.
right.
I
I'm gonna
love messing with you guys.
I'm gonna stand behind it and keep the box open.
You're gonna stand behind it and open it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's locked.
Okay.
It doesn't. Nothing happens like when you try to open it or touch it or anything. You can just tell that
Okay.
it's locked.
Okay.
It's a small little wooden box. I don't know if I don't really have anything nearby to show you guys. It's like, a small little
Right. I understand.
small wooden lockbox, like the size of a small jewelry box, I guess.
Can I try to pick the lock?
Sure. Do you have anything to do so with?
I have some darts.
Sure. All right.
Well, they're pointy. Maybe I
No,
can trick the tumblers with them.
fine by
Probably
me.
not.
Let me see what ability you're gonna use for that. I guess sleight of hand.
Okay.
Yeah, roll sleight of hand. 19. Yeah, sure, why not? You stick a dart in, and your dart, you wiggle it around, and you feel like the pressure plate and the locking mechanism in the back pop open, and the tip of the dart snaps off, but it does open the box.
Oh.
You open it, and there is a pair of these leather gloves inside, and a small ring with a jewel set in it. The ring seems to just be a simple, very plain gold band with a small setting for like a very small, modest gemstone that appears to be red in color. And the pair of gloves looks like a leather pair of gloves, like gardening gloves almost, but they look pretty nice quality.
I asked Deacon then, can you see anything with your magical eyes?
Are either of them magical?
They both are, absolutely.
Nope, they're normal. You might as well just hand them over to me.
That's awesome. I've never actually seen anybody do that in a game before, and I'm like always wondered why. Like, if there's only one person that can detect magic and identify stuff, like they would just get all of the magic items.
Just my completely normal boots and my completely normal gloves.
Yeah, like, man, I don't know
I
why
just
we
happen
never
to be
find any
running
magic.
a lot faster now.
I need some pair of gloves. I do fight barehanded. I protect my hands a little bit.
Yeah, that's true.
No, I tell them that they're.
Yep, they are magical gloves and a magical ring.
I hand the ring to Deacon if he wants it.
Sure.
Cool.
Now, outside, I can't remember if you told me this already, but outside of the identify spell, is there any way for us to figure out what these are, like through a check or through attunement or anything like that?
So, rules as written, D&D, you can identify stuff through Arcana checks, I think, right?
I think they leave it up to the DM.
Okay. So, in this circumstance, I'm gonna say there is magic at play that possibly would prevent the identification of these items, but I think in my games, if if you ever became attuned to a magic item, you would know what it does.
Yeah, you do. When you attune to it, you do.
Yeah, like you couldn't just like put on a magic ring and then wear it for like a full day and not know what it does. I think it just automatically kind of reveals itself to you. But on first look at these and just, you know, detect magic and that kind of stuff, like you are kind of struggling to see what they do. They feel like they have some type of powerful magic, but a mixture between not knowing and the present circumstances and the barrier that you find yourselves in. It seems to be clouding their identity to you as to exactly what they are.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and put the ring on.
All right. Okay. Nice.
Does he explode?
No.
Okay.
Can I take the ring back off?
Ooh,
Does
that's
it
a good
come
point.
off?
You
Good
cannot.
point.
It does not come off.
Oh,
Crap. That's never a good sign.
no, it is not.
It doesn't hurt at all, and it doesn't feel like it's like, you know, when a ring is stuck on your finger and you get that panic feeling and it feels like your finger's swelling up a little bit and it stresses you out until it finally like pops off. There's none of that. It's just it doesn't feel like it's too tight or anything like that. Just when you pull on it to come off, it just doesn't move at all. It just feels like this ring is a part of your finger.
I have a knife.
Cool.
If you got no finger, the ring comes off.
I think I'm good for now.
Okay.
We'll keep that in mind.
I'm good.
Last resort, maybe.
I think I'm gonna possibly wait. I'll stuff the gloves in my backpack.
Okay.
So gloves.
So you all turn back from the investigation of this tent, and the woman who was sweeping the castle walls has disappeared from sight once again.
Oh, jeez. Creepy.
You're now up a few magic items.
I'm sure it's fine.
Down one old woman. You see the gate into the castle in front of you. It seems to be not the type of gate that raises and lowers in and out of the walls. It just looks like a giant wooden door that maybe opens in two pieces, like a saloon door style. Like you could just open it from the center, and it's like two wooden doors connected.
Now, in the big tent, wasn't there like you said there was like a desk or a cabinet or something like that?
An end table, yeah.
Did we ever check that to see if there was...
Nope.
Like, did it have drawers? Like, did we look in it?
I don't think anybody did. No, it is like a normal little end table with two drawers.
You know, if we go back to the big tent, the little old lady will be back when we come back out, right?
Yeah, it'll be fine.
That would be really creepy and weird, huh?
I just want to make sure we're not leaving anything out. You guys can stay. I'll go check the doors.
Okay.
So, what you guys want to do?
Watch, he's gonna go enter the tent and he's gonna come out as the old lady.
No, I'm going with you, Deacon. No, that's not happening.
So
Okay, so I'm just gonna stand out here
Full buddy
alone, and then there's
system.
gonna be an old lady coming out of the tent and coming out of the door. I'm gonna be surrounded by old ladies.
No, she's gonna
I thought
come
Matt
out
would
of
be
the
with you.
small tent. She's gonna
Matt's
come out of the
hanging
small
in.
tent that we were in before.
Yeah.
The theories are endless. All right, so Chewie and Deacon are going to go investigate. Chad and Mac will stay on watch for the old woman, I guess. You walk up to the tent, Deacon, and you and Chewie poke your head in. Seems to be the same. There's a cot with the like a little empty stand where the axe set. It's now empty, and a little bedside table with a couple drawers.
Yeah, I go through the drawers.
Sure. The bottom one you find, there's a little leather pouch, a little money pouch, and the top drawer you find a small journal, leather bound journal. Seems to be like sewn together with leather strips. Someone probably like quickly homemade this, amateur leather worker style. Like someone just made themselves a little parchment journal and bound it together.
I'll skim the journal real quick.
Okay. When you open it, you see that it's like glowing very intensely with the same like magical barrier that's been coating a lot of things so far. And when you open it, the pages inside, just blood pours out of these pages and onto your hands.
Cool.
They seem to be blank. There's no writing on any of them.
Ooh.
All right. What's in the little money pouch? More blood? Is it an eyeball? Like
you open that and it's just there's like 20 gold coins in there.
Are they glowing yellow? Are they gonna turn into dirt when we leave this place?
Nope, it just seems like normal little pouch of coins.
It's just like a pile of puke when we leave the barrier. Like, oh, like, what the hell's in my pocket?
You just have a bag full of puke. Nope,
Right.
it seems to be someone's little stash of coins and maybe what used to be their diary.
It's a messed up diary.
I'm assuming when you picked up the book and opened it and then the blood started pouring out of the pages, you probably like slammed the book shut. Or dropped it, or what? How did you react? Yeah. Okay, you dropped it, so it lands on the floor and snaps shut, and all the blood disappears. There's no blood on your hands or anything like that at all. Just looks like a normal book again.
Huh. I'm gonna open it again.
Same thing. Blood starts to just like seep out of the pages.
What are you doing to that book?
And you said it was blank though, like there was no.
You don't see any writing on any of the pages, no.
Cool. I close it.
Yep. It all disappears.
Oh, Chad.
Yes, hopefully not, old lady.
I think I found I think I found the journal to that guy whose axe you have. Maybe he says something about it in here. Here you go.
Oh, the secret to holding it. Okay, yeah, it's probably just holding it the wrong way. Let's see. He
Nice.
tries to attempt to jump into Mac's arms. Does Mac have to make an athletics check?
Sure. I'll roll for that. I'm gonna roll survival for Mac. 15. He dodges out of the way and catches the book as you drop it, and it snaps shut in his hand, and all the blood disappears.
What the Chad was that?
Mac is like, yeah, what indeed, and takes a look at it, and he like very carefully like opens it just from the side, and you see a little bit of this illusion blood drip out, and he slams it shut again, and he just like frisbee tosses it back over to Deacon.
Now is it just got the same like yellow sheen everything else does, or is that detect as some other form of magic?
When you like poke and prod at this thing, it appears to be a solid, real leather bound like diary / notebook. It's got something weird going on. It does have that same magical barrier around it.
Hmm. I don't know. What do you think, guys? I I think it's worth holding on to. I don't know if we're going to be able to do anything with it while we're here, but
Never know when
I
you're
don't
going to
know
need a
if it's
bleeding notebook, right?
yeah. I mean, if nothing else, fun prank.
It's very true. Very true.
But like I do have dispel magic, so I could potentially try to, if it is some kind of like protection illusion spell on it to keep people from reading it, I might be able to dispel it so that we can read it. But I don't know if that would work while we're in here and it's being affected by whatever this other magic effect is. So
What do you guys think?
Yeah.
I let's go kill the old lady. I don't want her to live anymore.
Speaking of that, you all are standing in front of the gate, and you don't see her anywhere. She never like reappeared, despite all of the theories.
This could be one of the worst theories, where we find an army of them.
Oh, you had to say it.
Anything? What would you guys like to do?
Do we hear anything on the other side of the wall?
Past the gate?
Yeah.
I don't know. You can go up and do a investigation check, I guess. Is that normally hearing or is that perception?
Perception.
Okay, yeah, you can go up to the gate and do a perception check if you want.
I don't hear anything.
You do not. All you can hear, like, even when you press your ear up against it, you hear just this slow kind of bubbling of the water passing by in the river that's surrounding the area where the castle is setting.
Do you guys hear that old lady? I think she's in my head, man.
Did we check that building over there too?
You did not.
Okay.
It appears to be a small little what looks like, you know, like a guards barracks type of a building.
Do we want to poke around in there first?
Sure.
You're free to.
Yeah, let's go ahead and be thorough.
Okay. So you guys can see from the side that you're at, you saw the little door on the side, like the, you know, person door on the side. And from the part of the building they're at now, there's a little staircase that kind of goes up onto the roof. And there's like a bell on top of the roof. Like maybe the guards would run up the staircase and like ring the bell in case of alarm or something. And then there's a little ladder that goes down from on top of the roof into the building as well.
I'd probably just try the door.
Okay. So Deacon walks up to the door. Do you just turn the knob?
Yeah.
Okay, it opens. You see inside is like a nice wood floor guards barracks. It's just a single large room with kind of pointed ceilings, and you can see where the ladder descends from the center of the room. You can see the bell in through the skylight, and there's just 3 or 4 bunks on either side that appear to be empty, And then you can see in the back corner bunk there, it's like covered by a blanket, but it looks like there is some type of form or figure underneath the blanket in the back bunk. And then in the center, in between the rows of beds at the very back wall in the middle, there's a great large wooden chest. There's some tables and chairs around, cups, plates that seem to be empty. Just looks like, your standard like guard house where they would all communally sleep and stay on watch. Kind of like a mixture between like a barracks and like a firehouse.
I kind of signal to the group that there's someone inside and to like be quiet.
Okay. Deacon gives you guys some like Navy SEAL hand gestures and points inside the room.
And I'm kind of Deacon's kind of amazed that Chad hasn't said anything yet, but he walks in and kind of slowly approaches this figure in the bunk.
Sure.
Definitely doesn't approach too close until he sees that other people are also coming inside.
Okay, well, Chad, what do you think? You see Deacon peek in the door and see something, and then signal to you that there's someone in there, and then slowly creep inside.
I follow.
Chad will look behind him for the old lady once more,
Okay.
and he'll creep and kind of half crawl through the little crack in the door.
Okay, so you guys all slowly and nervously follow behind Deacon. As you all get inside the room, Deacon is already maybe 10 feet or so ahead, and Deacon, you approach this like first row of beds. There's like two, one on each side for 3 or 4 beds, and then the back one is the back left corner of the room is the one that looks like in the movies when you see like maybe someone snuck out at night and they left like a pile of pillows under the covers.
Pillows, yeah.
And it looks like there's a person under there. You kind of like, you look at it and there's just a humanoid figure underneath the blankets of this last bunk, and directly next to this bunk and in between this one and the other one, there's this large chest at the back of the room. There's probably 5 feet in between each bed, so you're maybe 15 feet away from the last row of beds.
So I'm going to carefully approach and use my quarterstaff to try to lift the blanket off.
Okay.
To hopefully reveal a pile of pillows.
You slowly start to lift the blanket off of this last bunk, and the first thing you see is this slight hint of blue cloth.
God.
Oh.
And you lift the blanket off, and you just see this like zombified corpse of this old woman, like death grip clutching this broomstick, and she just looks like she has been mummified into the bed underneath the blanket, and she just is
cool.
laying there.
Was that Chad screaming?
Yeah. Cool. Cool. Yeah, cool. Cool. So I'm gonna kind of do like Deacon's gonna do whatever the version of the sign of the cross is for him, and kind of do like a quick like prayer for her.
Okay.
And then check to see if she has anything in her pockets.
Perfect. So you do whatever your equivalent of your your holy symbol and religious gesturing and say a quick prayer, and it's like a blue, like maybe like an old maid's, like farmhouse style dress, like a blue, very traditional floor length, plain blue, like cloth dress. It does have like a front pocket that's made out of like a white cloth, almost like a kangaroo pouch in the front, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it's like a real old school traditional blue dress with like a white cloth pouch on the front, like where her belly is at. And she is facing away from you, like clutching the broom in front of her, facing towards the back wall of this place. Roll investigation to check out the pocket.
Okay. I also have detect magic up naturally.
She is like lighting it up. That whole magic barrier thing is like totally illuminating her entire body and all that. Okay, you reach into the pocket and you feel like you're reaching into a like bag full of spaghetti.
Cool.
Just like slimy, wormy. And you pull your hand out and there's nothing on your hand or anything.
Screw it. I'm gonna use my inspiration, I think.
Okay.
Just because that's better.
Nice. You like feel you feel around in the spaghetti pocket, and you pull out this like black stone, and when you pull your hand back and you have this black stone in your hand, the old woman just disappears.
Like the body?
Yep. She's totally gone.
Interesting. Does the stone detect as magic at all?
It does not. As far as you can tell, you can't distinguish anything about it. It seems like a flat, like river rock, solid black, no markings, dents, scratches at all. It seems to be like perfectly smooth all the way around.
What is there like is it history to like appraise it to see what kind of stone it is? Or
let me see if there's anything else that would make any more sense. Maybe nature.
Nature.
I think nature's probably the best one. Yeah, it seems like a normal like black river rock, I guess, that you would assume it was like worn smooth from water over time, but you have no idea why it would be inside a weird slimy like old dead woman pocket.
And you say it doesn't detect as magic. I'm gonna take it over to Mac is a dwarf, right?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take it over to him and see what he thinks of it.
Okay. He's like been cowering behind Chad and Chewie this entire time. Like he saw the old woman and like kind of freaked out and let out a little bit of a yelp, and then he slowly peeked back out when he saw that she disappeared. And you hand him the rock and he like hesitantly reaches out and grabs it, and he like strokes his beard a little bit, perks up for a second, and he's like, I think I've heard of this, if it is what I'm imagining, and only through context. Rocks like this, while not magical themselves, I think this type of material, it's close to what you would know as like a cobalt. They can amplify the effects of powerful magic while not actually being magical themselves. Says it may be useful in some shape or form for someone with magic, but I've never actually seen one before. If that is what this is.
Would Deacon have heard of that kind of thing before?
Maybe it's
talking about
probably pretty like advanced, like alchemy type stuff. You know, like an amplification stone, I guess they would call it. Like certain types of natural metals and properties have the ability to enhance whatever magic that they're being used with. So maybe if there was some type of spell affecting the old woman or something, this was, enhancing the effect of it.
I see. So my guess is probably like gentle repose or something. Okay. So, and you said there's a chest in the middle of the room?
Yep. Like a big wooden, like a footlocker type thing that would be at the end of a bunk, but it's just the one at the very middle at the end of the room that's really big, like hold enough for everybody, I guess.
Hey, Chad, why don't you see what's in the chest?
Hey, buddy, I'm not the first guy to see what happens when you touch a chest, okay? I've had a chest come to life. I've had it stick people. I have seen chests try to eat people, okay? I'm not going near that thing. I don't got magic. You got magic. You could throw a little butt ball or something at it, and then we know it's a magic chest that attacks people.
I'll kind of, I'll smack it with my my quarterstaff. Just kind of pop it on the top.
Okay. You smack the chest with your quarterstaff, and nothing seems to happen. A pretty large, wide, maybe 10 feet wide wooden chest. It seems to dent in a lot. Like the top of this wooden box is seems like it's made out of like solid wooden planks. But when you hit it with the quarterstaff, the top like bows in a little bit, if that makes sense.
Uh-oh.
Did it crack when you bowed in, or did it just go?
It did not.
Slosh?
It just like bent in and then shaped back up.
Shaped back up.
Was it like a waterlogged wood or something, or like
What was that?
fleshy? Did it feel like a waterlogged like wood or something, or was it fleshy?
More like rubber.
Like a gym bag when you hit a gym bag? No.
Rubber?
Like it seemed to be like springy. Like you hit it and it like kind of dented and then like bounced back into shape.
Time to leave this chest alone. I learned my lesson from Chad, having fun with the last one.
Seems okay to me. Try opening it, Chad.
Oh, wouldn't we warn him?
Yeah, I'd warn him.
Yeah.
So yeah, Chad, you see Deacon hit this thing with the quarterstaff, and it just like
no way,
dents
dude.
down and then springs back into shape.
That's not how chests act, okay? And I'm a dragon. I spend my whole time hoarding around money and goods, and you know what goes where you put all your money? In a chest, and that's not a normal chest. Get your owl to open it.
No, my owl is special.
What? Excuse me? Then what is Chad?
Chads are replaceable. Owls are forever, right?
When I say special, I mean like the owl is fragile.
I'm just gonna ignore that because Chad can't hear the DM.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, for DM's sake. Chad will get you.
And for Chad's sake, he'd start to be like schizophrenic and
If
crazy.
Chad
Right.
knew, he would find a
During
way
this
to
role.
this reality and this dimension, and he would find a way to like
That's probably
change the story from Elder, even if you had to beat it out of him.
That's probably true. So you guys are all standing around this chest.
He is the Lich, really, if you think about
That
it.
is true as well. I did create all this nonsense.
So with it being like this weird little springy thing,
Uh-huh.
I'm gonna like Deacon's gonna actually hit it hard enough, like hard enough to do damage to this thing. Like he's gonna see if he like, it's still kind of maybe it's just a weird wooden thing. Like,
Okay. Yeah, roll like a
Just
full-on like attack roll against this thing.
sure.
And I know what we came across before, so I'm going to shoot it across. I
Okay.
ain't messing with it either.
So
Kill it.
Deacon, make your attack roll, and Chewie, make an attack roll with the crossbow. All right. Hang on 1 second here.
It's a lie.
Oh, I don't know about that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know not about that though either. I'm just messing with you guys.
The suspense.
And I probably would have had everyone like stand back a little.
Okay,
I've seen
yeah,
that.
I'm sure Chewie already is if he's like pulling out the crossbow.
Yeah.
1 second.
Because if this goes south, I have a new spell to try out.
1 second. Oh my god.
Uh-oh. What you don't want to hear is the DM saying, oh my god.
There we go. Okay, I got it. I had to find my little page really quickly.
And I should probably point out too that like I'm gonna smack it and then scoop back really fast. Use my movement to get away from it. Like,
Oh, excuse me.
Okay, so Deacon, you smack this thing really quickly and go to move back, and Chewie, you wind up a crossbow bolt and shoot, and both of your hits land at the exact same time. And right as the quarterstaff connects with the top of this chest, it like springs into action, and the top of the chest like explodes forth, and this chest doubles in size. It just like the rubbery like tension that made it bounce back into shape before, it seems like it like shrinks for a second and then just like instantly grows to double its size, and the top opens and you just see the like giant jaw of this chest open up, and it chases you all through the front of this building, and you barely escape the front door in time for it to just like barrel through the front wall, and it like crashes a hole in the entire front of the building. And that's going to be initiative.
Chad told you.
Jeez.
All right.
That ain't no normal chest.
well, now we have a way to test for mimic.
Yes, everybody roll initiative.
Hey, not bad.
We got a 17 from Deacon, 18 from Chewie. Chad, did you roll?
Yeah, I got the 16.
Oh, that's right. You have advantage now. That's awesome. 16.
Sadly, still the little slowest.
That's all right. 16 is not bad. Mac with a
Oh yeah, it's true. There's still enemies.
19.
16, 17, 18, 19.
Yep.
As long as the mimic doesn't get 20, we're in a good shape.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
All right. So you guys all get chased back out into the courtyard and just like ran off quickly. And let me see if I can find a good token for this beast. You see the giant awakened massive war chest barrel through the front of this building. Oh, that's pretty good. Probably not that big. It's like that big.
Oh, did our initial attacks do damage to it?
They did not.
Oh.
Oh,
Yep, sorry.
if we didn't do damage, we're in so much trouble.
Maybe.
We'll be fine.
So this thing,
Just one, right?
it barrels through the front of this house, and it like sucks in like Kirby style, like it contracts itself, and then it lets out this barrage of black stones, and it shoots them all at you. I need you all to make a dex save for me.
Ooh, I get to use my new ability.
Oh, you have a dex save bonus?
Yeah, if I make my save, I take no damage.
Very nice. And if you
Half
fail,
damage.
you only take half? Very cool.
Yeah.
Very good.
All right. Where's my...
All right. Chewie, you see this barrage of black, smooth stones launch out of this thing like a cannon, and it just launches like machine gun fire of these black rocks at you all. And Chad, do you also have advantage?
I think danger sense. Can I see it?
You gain an uncanny sense of when things nearby aren't as they should. When you giving you an edge when you dodge away from danger. You gain advantage on dexterity saving throws against effects that you can see, such
Do I
as
see
traps
it?
and spells. Yeah, absolutely. Yep, for sure.
Hell yeah, let's go.
Nice.
All right, then that's the rule.
All right, Mac unfortunately failed. So all of you guys, you kind of were expecting something. You ran out of the house very quickly with the giant mimic chasing behind. It crashed through the wall of the front of the guard house and starts just like machine gun firing these black stones at you all. You all quickly dodge out of the way. Let me just fix how you're all oriented here. I don't like that. You quickly dodge out of the way, but Mac takes a giant stone to the face. And he takes... Oof. Takes a little chunk of damage there. Alright. And it's now Mac's turn. So he's gonna run away. What's his moves? 25. He's gonna go 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. All the way as far away as he can. He's terrified, and he's going to turn around and cast a spell of some kind. He's going to cast haste on Chewie. So for the next 1 minute while Mac is concentrating, you get +2 AC, advantage on dex saves, and you get an additional action on each of your turns.
Whoa. I feel better.
Super hasty.
Yeah.
All right. Mac is finished. It is now Chewie. Your turn.
So normally I would get 2 attacks. I get 3 attacks with crossbow, I guess.
Yep.
Right? So
You just get a full additional action if you want to use that to dodge or run away or whatever you want to do. You can take another attack.
I'll do 3 attacks, but I'll move. I'm gonna move up 4 squares straight up,
Up 4. Okay.
so we don't get all shot at the same time next time.
Cool. Also, something that we didn't talk about last time, and I think I screwed this up, and it was just my fault for being too unfocused and having a lot going on. But if you have haste, you get an additional action, so you can take the attack action if you are of a high enough level that when you attack, you get multiple attacks with your attack action. Then that still happens with haste. You know what I mean? So, like if
So
you
we get 4.
Correct. Like if you attack once and you have multi-attack, then you get to attack twice. But haste gives you another full action, so you can use your full attack again. So I think I did mess that up last time, Chad. So if you get haste, you get to, take a full action, not just one attack. It's a full attack action.
Actually, it says 1 weapon attack only.
Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah, I just read it.
Oh yeah, 1 weapon attack only. Okay, this action can only be used to take the attack action, but you do only get 1 weapon attack. Okay, so yeah, you just get 1 extra.
Okay.
You do get a full action if you want to use anything other than attack, but if you do attack, you can only attack once, I guess. That makes sense.
1, 2, 3. Oh.
Alrighty.
Which one hits?
The first 2. So you hit twice with the hand crossbow, a 25 and a 17. 7 and 5?
Yeah.
12 damage, alright. It, as it, reels back to launch this barrage of stones that it, is spitball launching at you, you quickly run a couple paces to the top towards the gate, and you fire off a barrage of crossbow shots, and you launch them, and they hit right into the inner top side of the chest lid where the top of its roof of its mouth are at, and you see the bolts go in, lodge in, and they do a little bit of damage. You see some black blood spray out.
Okay.
All right, over to Deacon.
Okay. At the risk of having Chad upset that he can't run in and attack it, I think I'm going to surround it with fire.
Okay.
I'm going to use my wall fire.
Sure. How does that work?
So I can create it as a wall. I can also create it as a ring.
Sure.
Up to 20 feet in diameter, 20 feet high, and 1 foot thick.
Okay.
So one side of the wall is selected by me when I cast a spell, deals 5d8 fire damage to each creature that ends its turn within 10 feet of that side or inside the wall. It also takes the same damage when it enters the wall for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there. Let's see. When the wall appears, each creature within its area must make a dex save. I think that's if you're actually in the wall itself, though.
So you want to put the circle right about there if you see it on the screen? Okay.
Yeah. So I don't think it makes the dex save unless it's actually inside the wall. But with it, basically the heat of the wall is focused inside, so that when it ends its turn, or it says when it enters the wall for the amount of turn or ends its turn there.
So if it tried to pass through it or ends a turn there?
Yeah.
Okay, and it does how much damage?
5d8.
Okay, that's pretty good. Anything when it first gets cast or anything like that?
I don't think so.
Okay.
This is don't.
Let me take a read at it really quick.
Yeah.
I'm assuming if it doesn't like automatically do anything to it, it would probably just be like very freaked out as soon as this wall of fire appears around it. Opaque. When it appears, each creature. Yeah, when the wall appears, each creature within its area, it must make a dex save throw, right? So is it within its area?
Like, see, I think when it says within its area, it's talking about like
touching the fire.
Yeah.
Okay. One side of the wall. Okay, yeah. So one side of the wall selected by you when you cast the spell deals 5d8 to each creature that ends its turn within 10 feet of that side or inside the wall. Creature takes the same damage when it enters the wall for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there. Okay, so I will say, like, you summon this wall of fire around this thing, and instantly the side that's like facing it from all directions inside the ring is, yeah, like emanating heat towards it. So at the beginning of its turn, when it gets back to its turn, it will take that 5d8 damage. And then if it ends its turn in the fire or inside that circle, it will take that damage again.
Was it at the beginning of its turn?
When it enters the walls for the first time, right? Here, hang on, let me pull that back up. So a creature takes damage when it enters the wall for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there. So I'm just gonna rule, like, since the wall just like got summoned around it, then it's gonna like start its turn being heated up by the fire. That would make sense to me anyways. Okay. Otherwise it's just like
could like, I read it as being like if it actually like tries to walk through the wall for the first time on a turn. So like,
okay,
basically on its turn, it can either take 5d8 by just sitting there and being cooked,
sure,
or it can take 5d8 trying to walk through the wall. So.
Okay, that makes sense. Cool. Yeah, we'll go with that. So, anything else from Deacon? You summon this wall of flame around it, and it starts to like freak out, and it looks like it's chomping and gnashing up and down, and this thing is giant. It's like rocking on its like weird wooden hinges that seem to be splitting apart now, and these like strange tentacly mangled limbs are appearing from it, and it looks to be like firing off these black stones into the air. It's like freaking out and roaring and making a huge commotion now.
I'm going to do basically what Mac did. And,
move away.
Maybe like 2 squares diagonally down and to the right
from where Mac is.
Yeah.
Boom.
Yep.
Cool. Over to Mr. Chad Supreme.
All right. Well, since I'm effectively disabled from this fight, I'm gonna be pretty angry, so I'm gonna go into a rage.
Okay.
I'll get into a frenzy, but then I don't know really what to do, so I think I'm just gonna throw a javelin at it.
Sure, and you can do that twice.
All right. Well,
your attack action, you can attack twice.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess I'll just go for that.
Cool.
I got 4 javelins, but I got 2 tries. Here we go.
Ranged options, you're fine.
This is all I have. I throw 4 and I'm done. That's 2 turns.
Calm down. Don't start fighting with each other. The thing is not going to stand in one spot the entire fight. Don't worry. It's going to kill you.
I'm just saying, this is all I have.
It's going to kill you.
All right, one of those hits.
All right, I do 11 damage.
Cool. You hit this thing much like Chewie's crossbow bolt. It lodges itself in some of the like meaty flesh inside the chest, and you can see it sticking out, and a little bit of like black blood sprays out from it, and it lets out a shriek. Any movement or anything from you, Chad?
Nope.
All right. And the mimic begins its turn, and it is stomping around and sees the fire, and it this thing, you can tell when it's moving around, it doesn't have like a thought process here. It's just entirely looks like this primal evil instinct, and it just stomps around, fires off these like black stones, and it's just like launching them like a cannon out of its mouth and out of the chest, and then it just stomps through the fire. So yeah, it's gonna take however much, 5d8.
Yeah.
Does it have to make a save, or does it just take the damage?
I think it just takes the damage.
Cool. Yeah, roll your
It would make a save if it was
ending
like,
its turn there, or when if it got cast on it, right?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Roll 5d8. I'll let you roll it.
Fine.
20.
Yep.
Cool. Yep. It takes 20 fire damage and seems to crispify it a little bit. You can see some of the like crossbow bolt and spear that were sticking out of it seem to char. The wooden edges of the box like crumble away a little bit and just leave this like mucusy purple and black flesh. This is like oozing the black blood out of it, and the giant mouth that was held together with the top of the chest and stuff is just slamming down over and over as it like lurches forward across the field, and it gets right up to Chad, and just the first living thing that it sees, it's just trying to eat everything. It is going to try to bite you, Chad. 28 to hit.
Just barely.
Yeah. That's what I thought. All right, so Chad.
Just barely.
Let's see. Let me roll this here. This is gonna make everybody super happy.
Oh no!
All right. 5d8.
Gonna get devoured immediately.
Did you just say 5d8?
22 plus 6, 20, so 28 damage, which would be cut in half by your rage, right?
Depends what type.
Just biting, so piercing.
Okay, yeah.
So 14 plus an additional 9 acid damage.
Dang.
Okay.
Oh, and I forgot because I add my charisma to fire damage, so that would have
Nice.
been an additional 4.
Sure, yeah, that's no problem. That's awesome. It when it walked through the fire, it looked at Deacon, and you charismatically scared it, and it took more damage. Yeah, it really like just starts to shred into Chad here, who is just being the front line, and it just rocks right up to him and just starts to try to chow down. And Chad is attempting to fight this thing back, and it's Mac's turn. Mac sees what's going down here, and he fires off let's say he's just going to enlarge Chad. So Chad turns into Big Chad, and you get advantage on strength checks and strength saves. Your weapons grow to match your new size, and your weapons do an extra 1d4 damage. So Giant Chad activate, and Mac will run and stand and hide behind Deacon. And it's over to Deacon Chewy's turn.
I'm going to do 3 more crossbows.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Okay. If I would, how far away do I have to stay from that firewall?
10 feet. So pretty much like if you stood anywhere right here,
No, I'm thinking. No.
you would be fine.
Is it fine right here?
That's 10 feet away, essentially.
Would that give Chad, what am I trying to think of? Advantage in battle? Is the guy flanked with me back here and I
No.
can't shoot him? Okay, I tried. I'll still stay there. That's fine.
Okay.
And I'll shoot him with the crossbow.
Sure.
If the fire wasn't there, I would have went down further, but I couldn't do it.
Yeah, make your attack rolls.
Ooh. They all hit?
Yes, they do. 20. All right. Over to Deacon. You there?
Sorry. I'm going to shoot blast and hopefully push him back into the fire.
Nice. Okay.
That's nice.
The 17 hits.
All right.
AC of 17 on this thing, you guys figure out.
All right, so it does. Actually, that does 3 damage because of
The rod.
rod.
And gets
And,
pushed back 10 feet.
10 feet. Yeah.
All right. So we'll say that it hits the firewall. So in that case, if it like gets bumped into the firewall, does it just take the damage again, or does it save?
So we're still on the same turn when it went through it the first time, right?
Yeah. When a creature takes the same damage when it enters the wall for the first time on a turn or ends its turn there, the other side of the wall deals no damage. So it's just like kind of sitting half in the wall right now.
Yeah.
So I honestly I don't know what I would assume there.
So it probably like once the turn comes around again, it would be passing through it again for the first time on a turn.
That's what I would assume as well. Cool. Anything else from Deacon?
No. No.
Okay, Chad, you're up next.
All right. So he's not blocked by a wall of fire anymore.
And you are giantized.
So that gives like 1d4 damage, right?
Yeah, all your weapon attacks do 1d4 extra damage.
Okay. Well, I took a big amount of damage, so I'm probably gonna take another hit from this thing again, seeing as I'm the only one remotely near it. So I'm going to drink the max greater potion of healing.
Oh God.
Sweet. All right. 1 second. I always forget
So how
about
much
that.
does it heal me? I forget too. How much it heals?
It's a greater healing potion. Let me. I'll never remember. Let's say. I think I'm changing this every time because I'm just like doing it on the fly here. But let's say 44 plus 4.
Okay, 44 plus 4.
And now.
Oh, look at that.
Did you get some sweet rolls?
This
Yes,
is
you
all
did.
threes.
Nice. It's not bad.
That's awesome.
Here we go.
That's a 16.
Let me pull up the table here. All right, so Chad, roll a D100, please.
Okay, D100.
And when you pull out the potion, Mac gasps and he just like bites his knuckle and he's just like oh God, let's see what happens. 71. Let's see. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Okay.
What do I get?
Chad, you are already gigantic, and you chug this potion, and you just feel like you just bust the biggest flex in the world, and you feel like insane Chad, and you feel like indestructibly powerful and strong, and you are like 100% no part of Chad would not be feeling like you could not be messed with by this guy.
Okay.
Like you feel more energized and powerful and tough than you've ever. You like feel just tough is the best word for it. You just feel like super tough, Chad.
All right then. Super big and super tough.
Yep.
Well, with that in mind, I'm assuming that's my bonus action. So then for my regular action, let's do the 2 big boy strikes with my Elder Steel. Oh wait. Since I'm giant, can I use the Axe of Cracklash?
Yes, you can. And it is as giant as you are, so it still feels very heavy, very, very, very heavy. But you can lift it, and you can attempt to swing this thing on it.
Yeah, hell yeah. What's the bonus to hit?
+2. So it's going to be your normal strength and all that plus. So it's just like a +2 weapon, which I think. I don't know what the Elder Steel is, but the axe is +2.
Okay, so the Elder Steel is +1, so I guess it's just everything the Elder Steel is, but +1 more.
Correct. Except for damage, it's different damage.
Okay, yeah, because it's an axe. An axe is a different type.
Yep.
Okay, so then I get a +10 then.
Yep.
Okay, let's hope I roll a 7 or higher. Oh God, I rolled a 2. Hey, I rolled a 17.
All right, you hit. So roll 1d20 for damage.
What the heck? That's
What?
cool.
All right, so this thing takes 14 plus your strength.
And then the 1d4.
And 1d4. And so add all of that up total.
And then +2 for rage.
So 15 +2 for rage plus your strength, which is an additional 5, right?
Yeah, it's 5.
So 23. So this thing takes 23 damage. Chad, you take half of that.
I take half the damage. Ow. And it's not halved?
Correct. So now that you've used the axe of Cracklash the Savage, you have identified it. It's a +2 great axe that its damage die is 1d20, but it deals half of the damage that it deals back to its owner.
Well, that seems hardly worth it.
It's high upside, it's like high risk, high reward, right?
Chad wipes the blood from his cheek and reconsiders his weapon choice.
It did a lot of damage. Hey, Vex, welcome to the stream, buddy. Yeah, it did a lot to you as well. Anything else from Chad there?
No, I believe that's it. That was my action and my bonus action.
Okay. Oh wait, dude, I totally forgot you drank the potion. Erase all that damage that the axe did to you. Sorry.
Oh hell yeah!
You are invulnerable to damage for the next round from that potion.
That the only time this weapon's useful.
That's why you feel like super tough, Chad. You just like literally invulnerable to damage for a round. Mimic's turn. All right. So the Mimic did not particularly like being smashed with the biggest axe of all time, and it's going to attempt to grapple you. So make a opposing strength check to resist being grappled by the Mimic, Chad.
I think I have advantage.
You do because you're
strength check.
giant right now.
Okay.
You might anyways, but
yeah, I think because of my rage.
Being
but
giant, you do. But
rage and giant.
They won't stack, so just advantage strength check.
It's just strength, just a plain old strength boy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You got to beat a 24.
24.
No pressure.
Yeah, no kidding. You just roll one.
Do better than that.
Yeah.
Hey! Oh my god. Nice. So
Whoa.
That was better.
Where
literally I had to roll a 19.
where we will leave it off this week is Chad grasps the Mimic's jaws as it's trying to bite down on him to swallow him, and Chad is like doing the movie scene thing where you're like holding open the jaws of the shark as it tries to bite you, and you're trying to wrestle it away, and it's like which side is winning, we can't tell, and we'll come back to it next week. Awesome. We gotta go. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. I ran way over on the clock, but we got to some cool stuff. I know it was confusing running through the weird village with the old lady and stuff, and I can't even say if it's all gonna be explained next week. Who knows?
I prefer if it's not.
Nice.
You'll dream about her.
Yeah.
Some nightmares.
Definitely Chad will.
Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed everything today. I really appreciate all of the faith you guys put in this campaign. I know it's confusing and probably doesn't make any sense at all, and hopefully you guys are enjoying it a little bit, even if that's the case. Super glad we got the cool artwork for Deacon now, and I'm excited to delve into this adventure more next week. We should have a good, 1 or 2 sessions left to go in this one before it ends, so we're getting into some good stuff here. So thank you guys for playing. Thank you to everyone for hanging out, watching. Vampire, as always, thanks for the host and stuff.
Thanks for having us.
Appreciate you guys. We'll talk to you next time.
All right. Thanks.
Later.
All right, stream. Everybody that was watching, hanging out the whole time, thanks a lot. Really appreciate it. It means a lot to me that you would support this campaign. It's been a lot of work. This was the 19th episode. Next week will be the number 20. That is 60, almost 60 hours of D&D content that we've done so far on the channel. I've been enjoying it a lot. It's a lot of work, and I hope to continue. So thank you all very much. I will be back tomorrow with the podcast and some more Magic Arena. Got some cool decks going right now. We'll try to keep going towards Mythic. So really excited for everything on the channel right now. See you guys.